Travis Wayne gets on. So, you're watching all my videos, right? So if I talk about them, you'll know the context. So I don't have to explain the video. And thus, why do a video if I have to explain previous videos? As a child, Indiana Jones came out, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And because of the popularity of the naming of it, they changed the name. But it's about the Nazis, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Nazis were the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones was a raider, but not of the Lost Ark. It was just something he was trying to protect and stick in the Pentagon Museum at the Smithsonian, hidden with the spaceships and other stuff, and crystal skulls. But I was so into that movie as a kid that my dad wanted to shatter my dreams. And said that archaeology isn't going around the world looking for buried treasure. It's not as exciting and glamorous. Obviously, I wanted to be the teacher where the girls sit on the front row and blink and show that they've got messages written on their eyebrows. Right? And wanting extra credit. He didn't have a clue on that one. But I wanted to find the Ark of the Covenant. And so I was searching through the Bible, and my dad had a Catholic Bible that had extra information to help me with my search. And I'm not sure how many hours I spent on it, but I couldn't find it. Searching my scriptures, I couldn't figure it out. So who knew that I would one day grow up to not only see the Ark of the Covenant and touch it. So, in Abinadi, as I have many more videos to do, and at least one that I'm just going to do a picture video for you, as I was doing this morning. And that's where I came across the Abinadi. I have not done Abinadi in the learning of the Jews for you. So we'll do it. We'll see if it's long enough that I can shave and bathe and do my laundry this morning. Or if I'll just not get to it today. So the Book of Mormon is in the learning of the Jews, which means it's an abomination and anti-Semitic to call it another testament of Jesus Christ. Apparently Mormons just can't comprehend that. It's just too complicated for them. So I guess we got to speak in parables to Mormons. Because as Jesus said, I speak in parables because you're stupid. Words of Jesus, not me. And so there are stories that warn Mormons about the latter days. That was going to be the other picture video I was going to do today. And so Abinadi, not literal history. And so it's a prophecy of the latter days. And I've always been kind of concerned because Abinadi is burned to death but that's the day that shall burn as an oven. And he uses that as the Jewish Purim, that which you falsely lay a trap for others will be the trap that you yourself get caught in. And so King Noah is the representation of the false prophet of the great and abominable church in the latter days. And his name's Lucifer. If you've been watching my videos, you've been watching them to the end, you know who exactly that is. Right, Nelson? I didn't name him that. His parents did. And so Abinadi is the man like Moses. The scene before King Noah is the exact same scene of Moses before Pharaoh. So yeah, this is what you're supposed to be catching on to when you read this story. That here we have the Christ of the latter days in the form of Abinadi. Don't try to look beyond the mark and try to figure out the Egyptian or Paleo-Hebrew meaning of Abinadi. Well, it's got Ab, that means father, and Nad. No, cut it out. But yeah, King Noah, in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the latter days. That was an easy one. And so you don't need to struggle by going into Persian to find something to protect the church as literal history. And Christian, like Alma, dear God. Oh, it's always been known to be a female name, but we found a document that says it's male, proving the Book of Mormon is true. No, it doesn't. What the hell is wrong with you? Cut it out. But, yeah, Alma is used with Abinadi, which is fascinating. And he is a descendant of Nephi, the Christ, in the Book of Mormon, who came to Joseph Smith for his second vision. Talking about what? Say the date. What? And so it's the king, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who commands that the Mormons should murder their Christ. There it is, chapter 17, verse 1. You're following along, right? You're not just itching ears listening. You're not just coming to my channel to watch the pictures and then, he's talking now. All right, he's done. There's important information for your life. Kind of essential to your eternal salvation. And so they make the false accusation here. And Deuteronomy 19 kicks in. Verse 7. Abinadi, we have found an accusation against thee, and thou art worthy of death. Death to the king! No king, no king, no, 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 no. See, when I watch Disney movies, I understand them. Nobody else does. I'm just watching to be entertained. Hercules? I don't know how that has to do with Jesus. Seriously, I'm telling my mom this. I went with my baby sister and my mom to watch Hercules, the Disney movie cartoon, way back in the day. And my mom asked me if I caught anything from it, and I went, oh yeah, Jesus and Zion and and saving Zion for the latter days, and she's just like, oh, I didn't catch any of that. So I cry at that scene where he goes to save Meg, that whore. All he did for her. She betrayed him like Delilah with Samson. And yeah, and so here we get to the day that shall burn as an oven. It's repeated here. It's done to Abinadi, as it is the death sign of the Christ, but it's the king of the president of the church who's killing the Christ of the Mormons. And in so like manner, the Mormons are suffering. As what happens is the Lamanites, they that come shall burn the Mormons, that Joseph Smith adds, is the event for the Mormons in the latter days. And let's see, 15. Behold, even as ye have done unto me, so shall it come to pass that thy seed shall cause that many shall suffer the pains that I do suffer, even the pains of death by fire. And it actually was just King Noah. Which means you're supposed to go, wait a minute. Oh. So Abinadi here is someone who dies at the beginning of Mormonism by the hands of Judas, of the president of the 12 apostles. That would be Brigham Young. Did Brigham Young pay the Judas price to the Warsaw Lodge members who then came to Carthage jail wearing blackface and then went up the stairs? But Joseph was at the top of the stairs with a 6-shooter and shot 3 times, chasing them out. But he heard a shot in the room, and there was John Taylor standing over the body of his brother Hiram. And so he shot the remaining 3 balls at John. One of them hit him in his pocket watch, and then he ran under the bed, and then he came in crying over his brother. And then William Morgan came out of the, or not William Morgan, oh dear God. Willard Richards, I was on a roll. Willard Richards comes out from the corner of his hiding, as the coward he is, and shoots Joseph in the back. Takes his dead body, drags it out, dumps it out the window. Then comes back over to Hiram, who's lying on the floor, and then shoots him in the face. And then shoots John several more times to cover it up. Hold still! No! Shoot me! I'm already shot! We gotta make it look good. A flashback of dozens of movie scenes of that exact scenario flying through my head. And so, yeah, he's talking about the future. The seed of Mormons from the Danites. As Samson was a Danite. And so, yeah, he's prophesying through Daniel of, or not Daniel, Abinadi, of the day of burning. Did you catch it? Nope. I wonder why. Maybe it's because you don't have the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator. That could be why. But here I am giving it to you. And Also, cross burnings of the Christians, KKK. This also is a clue as to their identity as well, because Brigham Young was of that same group. They just branched off and went west, where the others went south to become the Confederates. And then the leader of the Confederate formed the KKK after they lost the Civil War. And so then you have 18. Alma now is the Christ figure. And he has a group of believers who he's teaching at the Waters of Mormon. I've done the symbolism of that before, associating him with the Christ. And so, yeah, it's not a coincidence that Mormon is the name of the waters here, as the Book of Mormon is the warning message of the latter days. As the parting of the waters is the same thing as baptism. Moses parts the waters, dry land, passed through on dry land, Ark of the Covenant. All that has to do with it. And I prefer not to warn you. I'd rather we talk about how women's bodies are a symbol from the Bible and scripture stories of eternal life. You know, the Urim and Thummim and the Jordan River. That's what I'd like to be talking about. And use picture illustrations, but YouTube won't let me. And you would be offended. And so we get to the final day where they have to leave. Alma and his people flee from King Noah into the wilderness. So Revelation chapter 12. The church, the woman, pregnant with the Christ, flees into the wilderness. Exactly from that. And that comes from the Egyptians, where Isis, the queen, whose husband was murdered by Satan, and she is pregnant with Horus, who would be the heir to the throne. She has to flee into the wilderness to escape the wrath of King Satan. And she has the baby in the wilderness, and he grows up and goes back to Zion to restore the kingdom of his father. Exact same pattern here, guys. And so after that, which is interesting, 450 souls. I was wondering if Joseph Sr. Would put in gematria from Jewish Kabbalah. He knows Kabbalah. He's a Kabbalist. He rewrote the 116 pages. It's all over the place. But I was wondering, does he put in anything with gematria? Yes, he does, right there in verse 35 of chapter 18 of Mosiah, which Mosiah is Moses Yah, the God Moses. So yes, 450 souls. In gematria, that is the T, which is a cross, similar to Chi, not the Tau of Greek in Paleo-Hebrew. It's the cross. And the cross has to do with the sign in the heavens of the latter days, the death sign of the Christ. On 8 April 2024, that crosses over in southern Illinois and down in Travis County, Texas, where the first two cross over America. They knew the dates, they knew the locations, they wrote it in their language. Alpha A, yeah, that's the 3 days of darkness, and it's the first letter of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet. And then the Tau is the final letter of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, which is Chi. And so Constantine fools the Jews into thinking that he's turned Christian, as he created Christianity, because it didn't exist before, by saying, oh, I saw a sign in the heavens, I saw the Chi rho. Yeah, the rho is the flag symbol in Egyptian, which represents God. God at the center of X marks the spot. Zion of the Christ in the latter days. 8 April 2024. We know the day and the hour. Don't let the redactor of the author of Matthew fool you. And so the 50 is the N for crown, king. Samson, king, suffix determinative. Solomon, king of peace. He's the Prince of Peace. Hey, Isaiah talks about the Prince of Peace. I thought it was Jesus. Solomon, the latter-day Messiah. And yes, on the 21st of August, 2017, there's a whole messer splits of Salems that it passed over. Passed over. Passed over. Passover. Exodus. Jews. Remember? And so, yes, X marks the spot. There's a Salem Road. I don't think he wanted anybody to know. I don't think he thought anybody would know. I know. I found it. There's only one house on that block. And he's of the wrong Freemasonry, which is disturbing, because I put out the call to see if there were any York rights available. Nope. They're all Scottish rights. We are doomed. So Oakes was right. You can't alter it. Can't do it. And so they exodus to flee the army that comes to murder them, just like the Pharaoh's army that comes to murder Moses in the house of Israel. And passing through the waters on dry ground, etc., etc. And so then 19. Gideon seeks to slay King Noah. And, Samson. DN is Dan for judge. Danites. Samson was a Danite. And then the G is the phallus symbol. Penis and testicles. In Egyptian. And so Dan Brown got it right when in his book he describes I think in the movie also they explain it, that the number of bars on a military officer's lapel thing or whatever, and the number of penises he has, the higher the rank. That's where it comes from. I don't know how he knew that, because I don't think anybody knew that, but that's the way it is. Makes me kind of wonder, because nobody else deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, just me. But yet, that's what it is. And so you've got the male judge, Danite. Samson, the male child, born of the Danites. And Danites are Brigham Young's soldiers. So yes, this is now the Christ symbol. And he's going after the false Christ, King Noah. They're doing battle. But they that came to burn them. The Lamanites invade the land. And King Noah bites the big one, suffers death by fire for having murdered Joseph Smith. Dun, 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 dun. He touched the Ark of the Covenant. And so then we switch over to now Limhi is the Christ. And Limhi takes over. So you can see the transition here. Pre-king, he's Gideon. Post-destruction, he's the Christ. Limhi, the son of the king. He's restored the throne. And then they eventually find Ammon, similar to Ammon, the Egyptian sun god at noonday. Emmanuel, the king, the Christ of Mormons. So you see how he did that here? Fascinating. It's brilliantly written, masterfully written. And you guys all get hung up on cows in the Book of Mormon. What's up with the cows? Come on. Yep, there's many things to distract you away from the message. And they warn you, don't look beyond the mark. But Mormons do it anyway, because it's got to be literal history, and they'll prove it. They're coming out on Monday this past week to prove their innocence. This is a witch hunt. So that's another video I got for you. And so yeah, you see the pattern of the latter days. Day that come shall burn you. The burning, day that shall burn as an oven. And then the Christ and the false prophet of the great and abominable church. Ta-da! Flee with their wives and their children. Dun, 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 dun. And then they go back to the promised land, land of Nephi. Which is Missouri, actually. Yeah. Therefore, the Lamanites did spare their lives, because the haughty daughters and the haughty MILFs convinced the Lamanites not to murder them, and so they took them as polygamous wives back to Utah. And 13 and 14, verse 19, or chapter 19. They were charmed with the beauty of their women, caused that their fair daughters should stand forth and plead with the Lamanites, don't slay us. And so the Lamanites did spare their lives. Yeah. See, my monogamous wife isn't putting out. Maybe a hostage will do what I say. And carried him back to the Missouri. Because technically it was destroyed the day that shall burn as an oven. That's why I tell you Missouri is a trap. And then they extort them. As long as you deliver up King Noah, you can have it, because King Noah wasn't paying tribute. Oopsies. He was hoarding the tithing money of the Mormons. This is awesome story stuff. This is great.